dude, I took mushrooms on the way here and they're kicking in now and I'm freaking out. I remember back in 2009, I got back from a show and my girlfriend asked me how it was. I told her it was incredible. We showed up and they had a green room for us that, lots of comfy couches and stuff, all the drinks that we wanted. And they actually had it catered by a local catering company, and it just had multiple edible arrangements, and I had the best cantaloupe of my life. And my wife, hearing this, she had this look of jealousy in her eye that she only usually gets if I notice that other women exist. And she just goes, "Really?" And I'm like, no, none of that happened. It was terrible. It was a sports bar and half the people there weren't even there for comedy. They just wanted to watch baseball. The waitress charged me for a cup of soda, no free refills. So I drove 45 minutes to do 5 minutes of comedy in front of a completely indifferent audience. And I got charged for a soda. And that's not even the worst show I've done. I've done so many terrible shows. The reason I've done so many terrible shows is that there's a lot of good comics out there. And chances are, if you're not already headlining at a comedy club, you are going to do a lot of shows at places that aren't comedy clubs. And it really sucks because you are depending on a restaurant manager to know what is necessary for a comedy show. It's not that complicated. All you need is a stage, a stool, a microphone and speakers to play what's coming through the microphone. Turn off the TV, and if the audience isn't helping the show, they have to leave. Last but not least, you need comedians. They're not always that accommodating. I've actually had one manager come up to me and kind of whine like, "Do you guys really need a microphone?" Like, no, I don't. I guess I'll just scream at the top of my fucking lungs for half an hour and hope that the audience can hear me. I've even had a place tell me that they were waiting to start the show because there were too many people in the audience. But even with all that stuff in place, you can still have everything go completely wrong. It's like when you wear a condom and then you pull out at the end and then you realize it was broken. It's like you did everything right, but it still went wrong. One of these shows that I did was at a casino in what is technically Maryland. So at this time, Virginia wasn't allowed to have casinos. So what this place did was build a really long pier, and then at the end of the pier, they put this casino. Because at the end of the pier, that was technically the Chesapeake Bay, and so it was now under the jurisdiction of Maryland. So I guess you could have a casino there. Me and 2 other comics drove to the spot. What made this show special for us was if the booker actually liked us, then this could turn into future feature work. So feature work is basically when you get booked to do a show for about a half hour, 20 to 40 minutes. And it's not ideal, but it's the next step to be a headliner. If you want to be a headliner, you're probably going to have to be a feature for a little while. The stage was perfect. Great lighting, they had a microphone, speakers. So the comics all talk and we figure out who's going to go first. First guy is going up and he's getting the crowd warmed up. The second guy has disappeared all of a sudden. I find him at this casino and I grab him and I'm like, "Hey, are you good? You're going on next." At that point, he looks at me and he goes, "Dude, I took mushrooms on the way here and they're kicking in now and I'm freaking out." He then went on stage and proceeded with his set. Now, the cardinal rule of stand-up kind of between other comics is if you get booked to do time, you will do that time. And to this guy's credit, he did not get off the stage until he got the light, but it was far from perfect. The peak of his set, absolutely, was the point where he told the setup to one joke, got confused, and then told the punchline to another joke. And then when the audience didn't laugh, he just goes, "Do you guys even like me?" I mean, we're all comics. We all need the love and validation of complete strangers, but you're not supposed to say that part out loud. So he gets off, and now it's my turn. And with that audience, they're like, "What the fuck was that?" So I kind of have to recenter their focus and bring it back to me. And that still wasn't the worst show. So that booker knew that it wasn't really the best opportunity to show what we can do on stage. And so he decided to give us another chance. He invited us up to yet another venue, and so yet again, 3 comics got in a car for a 3-hour drive to Maryland. And really, at this point, what the fuck is so great about Maryland, huh? Really, all the best things about Maryland are the TV shows about murder or the failure of the drug war. And crabs with Old Bay. I guess. Nothing good happens in Maryland. So the venue turns out to be a little hole-in-the-wall barbecue joint named Heavenly Chicken and Ribs. Heavenly Chicken and Ribs is located in a small shopping center right next to a grocery store. Look, Ma, I made it! Now we get in and the show starts late, even though it's still sunny outside. And you know it's sunny because the stage is actually right in front of a giant window. So people outside the audience can see your back, and people in the audience can't see a fucking thing because the sun is shining in their eyes. The stage is right at the front of the restaurant, so if anybody comes in, they're part of the show now. But don't worry, that wasn't much of a problem because nobody showed up. So there's only about 7 people in the audience, and they're all getting their eyes blinded by the sun as it's going down at night. The first comic goes up, and he tries to do his thing. Now, they didn't actually do a mic check before the show. So while he's trying to tell jokes, the mic keeps cutting out on him. To fix this, the manager then gets on the stage next to him and starts tweaking the PA system while he's still trying to tell jokes. Needless to say, his time comes, it goes, it doesn't go well. And a lot of comics will like to blame things like, oh man, they weren't ready for my jokes yet, or this audience just kind of sucks. But that night, this guy did everything he could. He should have done well, but everything just fell apart. He really just didn't get a fair shot. Then I go up, and I make the mistake of just trying to have a stiff upper lip, and I figure 7 people is the same as 70. I'm gonna give them the exact same show. But when I figured out what jokes I was gonna tell for the night, I kind of factored in having an audience and having some laughs and some audience reaction. In about 3 minutes, I cover what feels like it should be 15 minutes or so. Absolutely none of my jokes are hitting. At this point, the staff for Heavenly Chicken and Ribs has decided that nobody's coming in for the night. They should start breaking down all of their patio furniture and bring it inside so nobody steals it. So now, while I'm bombing, these people are taking patio furniture, patio umbrellas, and walking right past the stage. At this point, it's taking all of my willpower to not just get behind one of the umbrellas and run off the stage. And I know that I'm bombing at this point. I know I'm not doing well. But I look into the audience, and behind audience member number 6, I see the guy who booked me, who kind of looks like Super Mario. And he's giving me this look with his eyes that's just saying, "How could you do this to me? I set you up to do so well. We're at Heavenly Chicken and Ribs. You have a mediocre sound system and bright daylight, and your audience is blinded. And this is how you thank me?" Because yeah, I know. I was at Heavenly Chicken and Ribs, where all the greats have performed. So I eat shit. Now the last guy, we'll call him James. He gets on stage, and he has studied the other 2 comics who went before him, and he makes a very smart choice. Instead of trying to pretend that the 3 people in front of him are a gigantic audience, he does something really smart. And he engages with every single one of the people in the audience on an individual basis, and he makes his set a little bit more conversational. And so it feels like every single joke he's doing is custom tailored to the member of the audience. Every joke is perfect. It's landing right how it's supposed to, and he's destroying. Now, at this point, 2 people come in through the entrance, quickly walk past the stage, and they go to the pickup order area. So James sees this couple walks in and he goes, "Hey, you, the married couple there. What's your name, sir?" And these people give each other this really uncomfortable look. And the guy very sheepishly says to James, "We're just friends." So I guess James doesn't hear so well. And he's like, "Hey, Frank, has she ever said to you, 'Frank, your penis is too big for my vagina'?" At which point, this couple cannot look at each other in the eye anymore. And they're just staring right at the ground, so incredibly uncomfortable. Like, these guys are absolutely mortified at this point. I don't know if they were going to have sex one day. I don't know if they did have sex one day. I don't know anything at all. All I know is that any of the chicken and ribs they picked up that night were not heavenly anymore. So I haven't done a show proper since last year, and I'm really dying to get in front of a stage again and do more absolutely terrible, shitty shows. There are so many things that can go wrong. TVs that don't get turned off, bridal showers where the bride-to-be doesn't understand that it's not her turn to be the center of attention for one fucking minute. I've literally done a fundraiser show for a guy who had a slowly degenerative disease that was going to kill him. And while we were doing stand-up, he left in the middle of the show in his wheelchair, slowly across the stage, as if to say, "Yeah, I'm dying, but this shit is terrible. Fuck you and fuck your jokes. I'm out." So why bother? Well, when comedy is good, it's great. It makes the rest of those other nights worth it. Mostly. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, just kind of go fuck yourself and shut up. But also, yeah, if you liked it, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I'm at Bren Kennedy. You can look me up on Instagram if you want to. That's your thing. Look me up on Facebook. And if you guys want to see more of these kind of videos, go ahead and leave me some comments in the discussion below and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot.